To today's live coaching call and community conversation. My name is Diane Parham. I am a fasting mindset coach for women who are transitioning through hormonal and or menopausal changes. Today, we are going to be talking about the difference between the ketogenic diet and being in a state of ketosis and what that means for us as women who are feeling really frustrated with body weight accumulation and maybe even body fat accumulation, and why it is so difficult for us to get that off, right? To utilize that as a source of energy and melt it away. So I'm going to give you guys some tips today and some information about how this can be possible for you. You can lose weight, you can reduce body fat, you can lose weight even in menopause, but we really have to start thinking differently about how it is we approach taking care of ourselves. And we're going to talk about that today. So I have some slides I'm going to share with you and some amazing testimonials from some women who are currently in our intermittent fasting for today's aging woman course. They've been in class for 5 days and they are looking better as far as what's going on with their body and feeling better. And I can't wait to share the results that they have had so far. So let's get started. Like I said, my name is Diane Parham. I'm a fasting mindset coach. I am a fasting mindset coach because if we don't change our mindset about how we're approaching our day or our lifestyle, and we're constantly grasping for quick fix approaches, thinking they're going to make us happy with ourselves, we are really missing out on life, right? And what we want to do is create a mindset where we have a happy life en route to what it is that we say that we really want, and the decisions that we make are going to get us there. So I am not a doctor. I am not a metabolic scientist. I am just a woman who has cracked the code for us women who are in these hormonal transitions. And I really try to simplify things for us so that we aren't chasing down the impossible or quick fix solutions to things that just aren't going to be realistic for us. So let's get started with today's conversation. So first we have to define what ketosis is and what the ketogenic diet is. So do me a favor in the comment section, let me know if you have attempted to follow the ketogenic diet. Just put a yes in there. And if you haven't, put a no in there. And that way I'll kind of know where we're going with our conversation today. And then at any time during today's conversation, if you want to leave a comment, if something is aha or you have a question, just leave it in the comment section. And at the end, I'll go through and I'll make sure that I address everyone. Okay, so let's get started. Okay, so let's start first with what ketosis is, right? And I know for a lot of people, especially women, there's certain things that trigger us to go to places that are unpleasant, right? Diets, maybe, fasting could be it for some people. The ketogenic diet is certainly one of those things, or just diet in general, right? So we want to make sure we differentiate the meaning of ketosis from a diet. So ketosis is when we put our body in a metabolic state, or we reach a metabolic state where our body uses fat and ketones rather than glucose as its main fuel source. So for most of us who are stuck with feeling like we can't lose weight or we're accumulating body fat, it's just because we haven't created a metabolic state where our body is, in a sense, forced to tap into stored fat as its energy source. And it's not forced to do that because we've created this environment through nutritional choices and fitness choices and just lifestyle choices in general, where we have this abundance of sugar available. And so our body doesn't need to work to get into the fat. And if you're not working to get into the fat that your body's storing, then it's not going to be able to utilize it. And therefore, it's just going to stay put where it is. Okay, so that's what ketosis is. It's a metabolic state. It has nothing to do with a diet. It has to do with the environment in which your body's in, and can that environment get you to the place where you're utilizing fat as an energy source. So what is the keto diet? So it's referred to as the keto diet, the ketogenic diet, and it's strict if you follow it by the way it has been designed, right? So it's very low in carbohydrates, moderate or high amounts of protein for some people, and then very high in fat. So the macronutrient breakdown, if you're following the ketogenic diet, a lot of people say they've done keto, but they're not following the diet as designed, right? They just do keto-like things, right? And a lot of times those are the fad things that we're marketed to as consumers. But to truly follow the ketogenic diet as it's outlined, it's 70% of your macronutrients from fat, about 20% from protein, and 10% from carbohydrates. So it's generally 20 grams or less of carbohydrates in your day. One of the reasons it's really hard for people to follow the ketogenic diet as outlined and find success with it is that for a lot of people, this is restrictive. Now, I know there are a camp of people who thrive in this environment. This is not the discussion for those people, right? They already found where they thrive. If you follow the ketogenic diet and you can't sustain that strict protocol, this is where a lot of people end up getting frustrated, and we do the yo-yo diet effect, right? We've been so restrictive, and then we feel like we're failing because we're not getting the results, and then we go the other end, the other side of the spectrum of the ketogenic diet, and we eat all the things, right? And so that's where a lot of people have this rebound effect from going really strict to like, it didn't work, I might as well just do whatever. And then you get into something that's going to send you down a path where you're going to probably gain a lot more weight than you ever lost. So be very careful of anything that is a restrictive diet. So there's other ways that people practice the keto diet as well to make it less restrictive. Or if you're doing something very specific where you're trying to yield a very specific result. So a lot of people do what's called carb cycling, right? Where you're going to go keto. So follow the strict keto for a few days, and then you're going to follow it by a couple of higher carb days. So you're going to restrict carbohydrates and then replenish carbohydrates. And then so you're going to have these type of things with your metabolic makeup or your ketosis type of environment you have in your body, right? So it's going to go super low carbohydrates and then super high carbohydrates. A lot of people, again, find great success with this type of lifestyle. But if you're not willing to live this as outlined, you're going to run into some problems, right? Because you're not going to reap the benefits if you don't follow the guidelines. Then there's the high protein ketogenic diet. I think a lot of people are calling this the, what is it called? The protein mimicking diet, or I don't know, some new fad thing came out with protein lately where people are using this type of way of eating to gain a result. It's similar to the strict keto, but protein is the thing that's the variable, right? So instead of being carbohydrates that we're using as a variable, we're going to use protein as a variable. And I think that what happens in this diet, I haven't done it, is you go super high protein, then super low protein, and you kind of alternate between that. And you're basically just sending your body into a season where change is happening. It's constantly having to guess. Again, if you're not following these as designed, you can run into some problems, right? Because we forget, is today a high carb day? Is today a low carb day? Is today a high protein day? Is today a low protein day? And you're not going to be able to differentiate between the two. And that's where a lot of us end up running into problems as well. So we know what ketosis is, right? So do you have to follow one of these diets in order to get your body into a state of ketosis? Let's answer that question, because remember, a diet is a way that you're going to fuel your body, designed by someone who experimented with this and found success and then marketed it and is selling it to us, right? But being in ketosis is when your body's environment is in a metabolic state where it's utilizing fat as its primary source of energy and is not dependent on carbohydrates. So we just reviewed that here, right? All we want to do is get our body into a state of fat utilization. So you do not have to follow a diet in order to make this environment possible for you, or to be able to reap the benefits of fat utilization, which is basically what ketosis is. You're utilizing fat, you're producing ketones as your source of energy, and you don't have this abundance of carbohydrates or glucose that's going to be fueling your body or running the show, right? So how do we get into ketosis if we're not following a diet that's designed to yield a state of ketosis? I like to teach the trifecta to aging successfully, right? We have three pillars that we want to pull on in order to make sure that our body is using both sources of energy that are available to us. We want to learn how to fast long enough to drain the storage that we have in our liver and in our muscles, that's glycogen, that dumps glucose in our system and makes it available for energy. We want to feast well enough so that we're supporting what our body needs in nutrients. And then we want to train smart enough, again, to drain those energy reserves and put our body into a fat utilization mode. We call this draining the tanks. And the tank that we are optimally trying to drain are our glucose tanks, right? We don't want to have such a backup in sugar that we never have the opportunity within a 24-hour period to get into ketosis or fat utilization. Okay, so we talked Monday about metabolic flexibility, and we talked about being able to switch energy sources. And that is truly what metabolic flexibility is, right? You're not going to get into a situation with your body chemistry where you're constantly storing and you don't have the ability to utilize the energy source that you want to. So we want to fast long enough to drain the tanks from our last meal. And if you've been following me here for any amount of time, you know that I talk a lot about the opportunity to feast so that our fast feels comfortable for us, right? So most people teach when they're talking about intermittent fasting, you fasted, therefore you can feast or eat whatever it is you want. And what I like here in this community for us to have a mindset around is I want to feast so that while I'm fasting, I feel energized and empowered. And that state of hungry is where I know the magic is going to happen, right? And we want to be able intermittently to reach that level of utilization. So we want to fast long enough, we want to feast well enough, and we want to train smart enough to enter into fat utilization mode. I talked about that on Monday also about zone 2 training, right? And getting your body into that fat utilization mode. And in order to do that, we have to drain those glucose tanks or the glycogen tanks that are going to provide the glucose for us for energy. So super simple concept in theory, but it is difficult for us to wrap our head around this, right? So simple to just fast long, feast well, and train smart. So I want you guys to be thinking about that when you're thinking about a diet that you want to follow and the result that you want to yield. So it takes about 21 days to drain the tanks effectively enough to reduce problematic backup. So what does problematic backup mean? Well, if you're a woman who is frustrated that you can't lose weight, or you're frustrated that your body's accumulating a bunch of body fat that you can't tap into, then you're not draining your tanks effectively so that you can tap into those fat reserves, right? You're just constantly running on that glucose because your tanks are full or overflowing. Again, if your tanks are too full or they're overflowing, we tend to get ourselves into a situation where we find ourselves being insulin resistant, or like myself, I ended up being pre-diabetic, right? So we want to drain the tanks by utilizing the trifecta to aging successfully, the fasting long enough, feasting well enough, and training smart enough. So what does that mean to you? This is where we have to have that mindset of self-care and really establishing an intimate enough relationship with our body that we know what it feels like when we've switched energy sources, right? And so we want to pull on all three of those levers. What I like to teach is the fasting the 20 hours clean, 4 hours of feasting. And we're feasting to support that next fast so that we have the opportunity to drain our tanks intermittently every 24 hours. I like to teach a keto-like approach to choosing your nutrition. Don't get that confused with ketogenic diet. A keto-like approach. So the keto aspect of that is so you can get your body into a metabolic state of fat utilization, right? And the like part is just we're modeling a common sense approach to how it is we want to fuel our body. So I say high naturally occurring fats. So one ingredient, naturally occurring fats, you're not pulling out of a bag, that's going to be a bunch of processed fat that's not going to serve what it is we want in the long run. We want to have the fat naturally occurring, one ingredient foods if possible, low to moderate amount of protein. Again, this is one of those controversial areas that a lot of people like to nitpick. You have to figure out what protein amounts are going to serve you and what it is that you say that you want. There are some women, especially in this demographic of women, who have a really hard time processing extra protein. So you have to play with things until you find the right macro makeup for you. If you're not a macro counter and you don't want to follow calorie counting, you don't have to. You just have to be open enough to just experiment and find what suits you and what makes you feel good when you're fasting long and feasting well. And then I always say conscious carbohydrates, right? You have to determine which carbohydrates are going to serve you. You don't need to restrict them per se, but you have to be very honest with your decision-making process and know that there are a lot of carbohydrates out there that might not serve you, might not allow your body to get into that metabolic state of ketosis because you have too much carbohydrates, right, in your day, and you're not able to drain those tanks and get into fat utilization mode. You have to figure this work out for yourself because you're the only one that knows how your body operates. Okay, so you do not have to follow a restrictive diet to reach a metabolic state of ketosis. I do not follow a ketogenic diet. I can get my body into ketosis within a 24-hour period of deciding that I want to get there because I consistently over time make sure I'm draining my tanks by fasting long enough, feasting well enough, and training smart enough. If you're a person who's currently suffering from insulin resistance or a type 2 diabetic situation, or you're having a hard time getting your glucose levels down, you have to go back to those drawing boards, right? Am I fasting long enough? Am I fasting clean? Am I feasting well enough to get my body into that place where I can drain the tanks and force my body to find those fat reserves to tap into to convert into energy? And so this is where you have to be patient, right? And then go with how your body is looking and feeling and making those informed choices for yourself. So I always say, when in doubt, test it out. So we talked Monday, and we're going to talk today a little bit about glucose and ketone testing, right? It's a blood test. You prick your finger, you get a little blood out, you put it into a meter. It's going to tell you how your body is responding to the decisions that you are making. What are your glucose levels? Are you producing ketones? And if you are, at what level? And are those numbers going to yield you the result that you want so that you can tap in and utilize what you don't want hanging around on your body? The other one is the Lumen. We've talked about that as well. It is metabolic flexibility testing. It is one of the easiest devices to use. It's super user friendly once you open your mind up and really start practicing how it works. It will tell you whether your body is converting energy in the direction you want it to be converted in, right? Are you utilizing carbohydrates, or are you able to tap into those fat reserves and start pulling from those to support your daily activities? It is really that simple. And then I always say you can default to the look and feel test. Are you seeing results that are positive? Are you seeing a change in your physique? Are you feeling more energized? Are you tapping into what we call here the energized sense of calm? When you are experiencing the energized sense of calm and you have had many hours with no food and you're doing this with your energy instead of this with your energy, that's when you know that you have tapped into those fat reserves and you are going to be consistently fueled with energy throughout your day, and you're not going to need a new sugar fix to keep your energy levels up. So 3 ways you can do it. One is free, but you have to be honest with yourself about your decisions you're making and how you are looking and feeling in those decision-making processes so you get the results you're hoping for. So again, this is the metabolic flexibility. The respiratory exchange rate is what is monitored on the Lumen. It tells you whether you're using fat primarily, carbs primarily, or if you switch to one completely or the other. Again, you can find this on the website. I'll share with you guys my code. I think they're having a Valentine's sale right now, so you get whatever the sale is plus $50 off if you use my code. This will give you immediate feedback if you don't like to guess, right? Or you don't want to take your chances. Again, on the market for consumers to use, super easy once you wrap your head around the decisions you're making. And then again, we talked about blood testing, super easy. You could tell, this was me last week. I was in a state of ketosis. My ketones were 1.0. I do not follow a ketogenic diet. I don't count macros. I don't restrict myself. I drain my tanks every day intermittently by fasting long, feasting well, and training smart. And if I can do it as a pre-diabetic woman who had 20 pounds to lose, you can do it too. You just have to learn the basic concepts of what it takes. So I'm going to share with you guys really quickly a couple of comments that came out of our community group yesterday from the Intermittent Fasting for Today's Aging Woman course. This is the course that I teach you how to do exactly what we talked about today. Being able to tap into your fat reserves, the things that are making so many women so miserable as we're going through these hormonal changes and menopausal seasons. You can train your body to do this. It takes 21 days, which is why my course is 21 days with an extra week of coaching from me. So you can experience this for yourself and know that you can leave class and just rinse and repeat and get these same results. So Amy, who was in our February 2022 class, said that she's finally figuring out that clean fasting is what she needed to do, because guess what? You guys have heard this too, right? But so-and-so said I can have 15 calories in my fast and it's not going to break it. Or what about apple cider vinegar? Or why can't I have lemon in my water? And is my heavy cream really that detrimental to me losing weight? Yes, it is. When your body is not trained metabolically to get into a fat burning environment, everything you do in your fasted state is going to halt the opportunity to burn or to utilize your fat, right? You have to train your body first. Then when you start getting those wheels turning because you have drained the backup and you have emptied out those tanks and you know how to fill them up and empty them out every day, then you have some freedom and flexibility to add some things in. But if you're a woman who's frustrated and you're seeking out the secret sauce to success, to weight loss and fat loss, this is it. Just fast long, feast well, train smart so that you can drain those takes and get your body into a state of metabolic flexibility. So my girl Amy has lost 5 pounds in 5 days by just fasting clean, feasting well, right? And tapping into those reserves so that her body can utilize what she's unhappy with as a source of energy. You guys, it's like magic once it clicks. And then I'll share with you my girl Raina, who I think she posted this yesterday as well. So we had a lesson on hunger hormones. I talk about hunger hormones here all the time as well, right? You have to balance out your hunger hormones in order for you to really thrive in that fasted state. And once you create some boundaries for them, you have to discipline your hunger hormones, right? So you're not feeling like you're miserable all day. Once that starts setting in, your body's going to thrive in a fasted state. Believe it or not, our bodies were designed to fast. We were not designed to feast all day, which is why so many of us feel so broken and torn down and exhausted when we get into this state of hormonal change, because we haven't been living and treating our body the way it has been designed to live and be treated. So you should be thriving in a fasted state. My girl Raina has exactly figured out what that means for her, a 20-hour clean fast. She has lost 4 pounds since Saturday and her smile is bigger. Like, that is my day made. You guys, it shouldn't be expensive for you. It shouldn't take you years to figure this out. It should take you about a month, right? Fast long, feast well, train smart. Put your body into a state of ketosis. Don't put your body on a diet. Diets don't work. They're restrictive, they're frustrating, and they're going to put your body and your hormones into a tailspin. It is time, as women who are going through this hormonal season of change, for us to step up and learn how to feed ourselves so that we can look and feel our best, and most importantly, live our most authentic life. I teach all of this inside the Intermittent Fasting for Today's Aging Woman course. 21 days can completely change your life moving forward and the outlook that you have on how it is you're taking care of yourself. So if you haven't been in class yet, I hope to see you in March. I can put a post up here for how it is you can get registered. Just go to the For Today's Aging Woman site, find out more once you get to the site, or you can click on the next course and you can get yourself registered, or at least get on my email list to find out more. Okay, so Dawn, you did not follow the ketogenic diet. Pam, you did follow the ketogenic diet. How did that work for you? And are you still following it? Tiffany, keto-like is the only way to go for sure, right? Because it makes sense for us to have higher naturally occurring fats in our diet, right? We need fat to utilize fat. We need it for the energy source. We need it for our brain. We need it for our hormones. We need it for all of the things that our body needs to stay running and optimal. And we just want to make sure that they're the good quality fats. But you don't have to go like off the deep end with fat either. You just want to make sure that everything's fitting into your life in a very convenient and authentic way. Rachel, yes, you did do the ketogenic diet. C, Faria, no, you didn't. Debbie, let me see. Is it possible to purchase the journal? I don't know what journal you're talking about. So let me know what journal and then I'll let you know. Sue, hi Diane, Sue from January class, fasting 20 hours and no longer hungry, testing GKI and seeing benefits inside. Thank you for your knowledge. There you go. So graduate of the class that just ended in February or January. And she is already seeing and feeling results and she's testing it, right? And here's the thing. If you're not a tester, I didn't test for 3 years into my intermittent fasting journey. I just trusted the look and feel process, right? I didn't want to be distracted with the test, and the Lumen wasn't available yet. If it was, I probably would have jumped on that a lot sooner. But you can tell, right? If you're losing weight, if you're losing inflammation, if you're sleeping better, if your night sweats are going away, if you are thriving in your everyday life, things are working. You might not have to do any kind of testing, right? If everything's moving in the right direction, then that means things are working. If you haven't been able to lose an ounce in years and your body starts letting go of weight, it's working. So use the look and feel test as well. It works every single time. Okay, let's see if we have any other comments. So Debbie, let me know what the journal is you're talking about and I can answer that for you. And then, yeah, so we got some testing going on. So I know it's not sexy. I know it's probably not the information that you were hoping to hear. Like there's some quick magic turnkey thing you can do. You have to do the work, right? You have to do the work. You have to listen to your body. You have to put yourself first. You have to stop relying on people to tell you what's okay to do and what's not okay to do. You have to test it out and figure it out for yourself. It is a process, but you are worth the process, right? And we have to just make sure that the decisions that we are making are resulting in what it is we say that we really want for ourselves. And if you're frustrated and you're repeating the same things over and over again that aren't working for you, you have to stop yourself dead in your tracks and ask yourself why you're still doing those things. If you're doing specific things that are promised to yield you a result and you're not getting the result, they're the wrong things to be doing and you have to find a different way. Pam, I lost about 20 pounds in 2 years and then no more. Got frustrated, caused me to stop altogether. Girlfriend, you can't stop. You can't stop. You got to tweak, right? So sometimes we have to just tweak things, but don't stop, because if you stop, what are you going back to? The thing that got you to the place that made you want to start something in the beginning, right? And so you can't completely stop, and hopefully that doesn't mean that you're not doing anything. You have to just tweak things, right? And then create the life that makes you excited about starting a new day. So I always say, like, I want to empower women to look and feel their best every single day when they put their 2 feet on the floor and they get their day started. And I want you to have the confidence and the excitement to do it for you in your way and not depend on someone else to tell you that it's okay that to have a cookie, or it's okay to have a cocktail, or it's okay to eat chicken. Like, you should be able to make those decisions for yourself without needing permission from someone else. The Passion Journal. Yeah, I think it's, you can go to my codes. Just email me or send me a private message, Debbie. If you go to the Passion Planner site, so www.passionplanner.com, you can go there and look for them. And if you use DYANN1, so my first name and a 1, no space in there, I think you get like a discount. But I think a lot of the really popular sizes are sold out already. So, but you can go there and check it out and see if you can find something for sure. In the February class now, I'm learning so much. Okay, good. Oh, thank goodness, girlfriend. Okay, do me a favor, Pam, and leave me a message in the community group and let me know that you were on today's live. And let's open up some discussions in there where you felt like you got stuck before, so that we make sure that we create the mindset for you that you're not going to get stuck again. So we'll have that conversation inside the class for sure. Have been IF from 20 hours since I first saw your videos 4 weeks ago, and your February class is giving me a brand new mindset. So yes, I'm all in. Okay, yes, that's what I wanted to hear for sure. And then do me a favor, still make sure that you reach out to me in the community group, so I can see you in there and we can talk about some things if they come up. But you're on the right path for sure. We deserve to have the life we want moving forward, right? With realistic expectations of where we are and where we are going. And let me tell you this, my friends, you are worth it. You're worth every decision. You're worth every struggle. You're worth everything that you are going through to find the place where you can really feel like you're looking and feeling your best and doing it for you in your most authentic way. Nothing drastic, nothing graspy, nothing desperate. We're going to do it very controlled, very thoughtful every single day. Okay, Patty Wedge, girlfriend, happy Thursday. Patty is in my midlife mindset shift course. She is a huge success story here in our community. She's doing great things for her future self. So thanks for popping in with us today, Patty. I'll see you tonight on our midlife mindset shift live coaching call. But yeah, keep at it, you guys. It is not meant to be frustrating. We just have to go back and retest some things, right? And figure out what's working for us and stop listening to nonsense advice that does not apply to us. You have to do the work. You have to form the mindset, and then you have to just build the boundaries and the discipline so that you can rinse and repeat easily, keeping those tanks drained, right? So you don't have to rely on some crazy restrictive diet to help you get the results that you're looking for. So ketosis does not mean a diet. Ketosis is a metabolic state that you can create in your body by fasting long, feasting well, training smart. Thanks for hanging out with me today, you guys. I love having these kind of conversations with you. You've got this. If you need anything from me, always feel free to reach out to me. If you haven't jumped into class yet and you're interested in doing this type of work for a month with me inside the course, just go to fortoday'sagingwoman.com. You can find out more there. We'll start taking official registrations about a week before class starts. But if you want to get registered now, it's always open and available to you as well. Have a good rest of your day. Have a fantastic weekend, and I'll see you guys back here on Monday.